Gurugram and a Bengaluru, cities drowning in their own waste, literally and figuratively. More often than not, in some of these cities, drainage systems collapse, landfills burn, roads cave in. Citizens keep complaining, governments keep deflecting. The question is, what are India's urban priorities? In this segment on The Breakfast Club, we'll break down what went right in Lucknow and in cities like Indore, Surat, Nagpur, Navi Mumbai, and ask why India's biggest metros are falling behind. This is not just a problem limited to waste management. It's a problem that goes much beyond how we manage our waste. It's a problem about urban infrastructure literally crumbling day in and out. So let's quickly introduce author and columnist Advaita Kala, who's seen Delhi up close in all this chaos. Advaita, very good morning to you. Thank you for joining us once again. From the last conversation we had to something very serious. You've been very vocal about some of these infrastructural problems that Gurugram has been facing, especially in monsoon. So no better than a time than this to really take in your perspective on what you make of the rankings that have come out, because Lucknow is being seen as a splendid model owing to how bureaucrats are really going ahead with this last-ditch effort.
Absolutely. Gurugram or Venice? I'm confused nowadays. Where exactly do I live? Because every time it rains, it's time to, pull out your paddle boat and hit the streets. That's really what we're facing right now. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. This was Millennium City. But instead, we are seeing just this kind of disrepair all around us. And I think citizens have had enough. We've really had enough. This is a tax-paying city. It's mostly corporates. It's mostly corporate employees. We all pay our taxes. The least we expect is decent roads and garbage being cleared up. We've come out of a terrible pandemic, and we seem to be setting all the rules now, which will ensure that some other kind of, if not a pandemic, at least an epidemic of sorts takes over, because there's just such little regard for basic safety and cleanliness. And all this kind of, skyscrapers and fancy shopping malls and dining places, they mean nothing if your everyday life is plagued by the kind of conditions which just don't justify living in any of these places.
Advaita, can we also ask you, you spoke of Gurgaon and how awful it is right now. And I just want to say, Delhi has the same issue with pollution. Mumbai has the issue with rains, where it's that same thing, right? Citizens, when that season happens, are frustrated. And there's that same question we ask, when is this going to end? Almost like clockwork. For Delhiites with AQI, every time November hits, we're like,
you're
when
heading
is this?
into AQI.
Yeah. When is this going to end? I just want to ask you, where do you see the issue? Because I know that sometimes it gets quite philosophical. On Twitter, at least, many ask, is this a problem of citizens not demanding more, or, is this a problem of the government? The government here is clearly, different governments here are maybe clearly not doing their part. But is it citizens also who need to protest in a different way? What do you think when some say the buck should stop at citizens?
I don't necessarily think the buck should stop at citizens, but we have to be active stakeholders in this issue. And that unfortunately doesn't happen, because part of it is also because we have jobs, we have regular lives, we have other priorities. We can't be kind of, butting heads over garbage pickup and, potholes. Look at Bangalore and the potholes. Again, another such a progressive city. If you have a friend in Bangalore, you call them, they're always in traffic.
Yeah.
So they make great phone conversations because they have all the time to be on the phone, but it's because they're always in traffic. So it's like a malaise. And I must bring up Lucknow at this point. When you speak about citizenship engagement, they've actually reached out to 4 crore citizens, outreaches, specific, targeted, saying that, get involved, support us, help us, get to these benchmarks it's incredible to go up to rank 4 in a year's time. is a compliment, of course, to the IAS officer and also to the government and the chief minister. It's and the citizens of Lucknow. So it just goes to show that you need government, you need bureaucracy, and you need the citizens to come together and say that we're going to make a change. And Lucknow doing it is, I think, a huge example for the rest of us that it can happen. You're not just, stuck in a certain way of being. The only philosophical thing about this is that we just assume that this is karma, this is destiny, and this is the way we're going to live our lives.
Yeah.
That's about it.
So don't settle for what's coming your way. Try and make a change. And that's exactly what the IS officer attempted to do in Lucknow. 2 years, he's brought up the rankings to 4, which no one saw coming. Advaita, you briefly spoke about it, how this needs to be a collective effort, doesn't stop at the government alone, doesn't stop at individuals alone, or the society at large. It has to be each and every person contributing to make a change. But how do you bring in that inspiration? How do you bring in that kind of motivation for a set of people, like you said, who are just bothered with their own individual lives? They're all stuck in 9-to-5s or are struggling to meet their ends. What do you do apart from just spreading awareness?
I think it's again citizen engagement. It's really important. I remember in school on 2nd October, we used to all clean the premises. I don't know if it happened in your schools also, where you used to clean everything, and it became like an annual routine, but it was just that one day in the year. And we have to kind of build a culture wherein it starts from school children and childhood, wherein you have pride for your surroundings, not just inside your home, and you keep your room clean and don't litter the drawing room, but even outside your home. I mean, so many times, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, I've been outside, behind a car worth crores, and the passenger will chuck
Open the window
garbage on the road. Open the window and chuck garbage on the road. And I'm like, if affluent, educated people are behaving like this, then what hope do we have for anyone else?
Right.
So there's a certain amount of casualness when it comes to this, and you will go, if you go to Gurgaon and if you look inside the posh colonies of Gurgaon, it's like living in a Western country. Manicured lawns, clean pavements, excellent lighting. So when it is done for yourself in your colony and your RWA gets active, and if a light bulb is out, the WhatsApp group will be lit with all kinds of messages and fire and fury. But we won't do it if the main road outside our house is facing similar circumstances. So it's even us. And it's also, getting to a point now where I think people are going to say, let's privatize this if the government is not able to handle it. It's really getting to that stage because people have just had it. But again, we need to be more active.
I love that you brought up the privatization point, because that in the last few years has become a very big part of the discourse. Can we ask you, Advaita, you were talking a little bit earlier about pride, and on the show a few days ago, we had someone who worked in the Northeast on a cleanup drive in a region in Meghalaya, and he was saying that in that region, to your point of pride, it was actually about pride. So anyone who lived in that region didn't pollute because they believed the land was land of no sin. And because they believed that, there was an inherent sense of we do not pollute. And he was talking about the need to inculcate that sense of ownership and pride in all of us. So I just want to ask you, Advaita, because we can ask you this, what do you do to make sure the people around you, whether it is your kids, if you have kids, younger people around you, actually have that sense of this is my city? Because it can sound quite naggy, that's the unfortunate part. So how do you build that message, send that message out?
Besides, I think that isn't that whole factor really getting lost, especially given how people are moving, on the move constantly. So Gurugram, for instance, has people from across the country. So that whole idea of belonging to one place is also slowly
in the
eroding.
NCR at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think first link it to property prices. The moment you do that your property's price will go down if you live in a dump yard. I think that'll impact people because, unfortunately, people have to see some kind of personal benefit or problem if they continue to exist in a certain way. That's just the way human beings are wired. So I think, there can be a cess, or there can be an increase in property or a decrease in property prices. I don't know how you regulate these things, but I'm just trying to think out of the box that it needs to be, impacted in some way where it hits your personal bottom line. That's one thing. The other thing is, I've been to Indore a couple of times, and people there are so proud. One of the first things that they'll tell you when you get there, they'll tell you, oh, do you know this is the cleanest city in India? And then if you look around and you notice it, or if you mention it, they can have a whole conversation with you about it. I suspect, Lucknow as well, now that it's climbed up the ranks and it's at number 4 for over 1 million inhabitants, and their competition is Bhopal, another beautiful city, and Ahmedabad. You'll see the people of Lucknow actually take pride in this and say, we've got to beat this number. And then it becomes a collective movement. So I think a big part of it is normalizing it. What we've instead done is that we've normalized chucking things on the ground, not taking care of our surroundings and waiting for the DMC or NDMC, someone to come pick it up. We've normalized that. On the other hand, we have to take something out of the textbook of Indore, Lucknow now. I think Lucknow is the most encouraging because it's the most recent and surprising entry into this list, which just makes us feel like it's possible with the right effort and initiative. And we need to normalize cleanliness. We need to be able to look at it as an aberration and bad behavior when someone litters. Instead, what we do is we just look the other way.
Yeah. And the change makers who are actually attempting to do something about it are also being looked down upon. We had a voice, Advaita, very recently on the show, someone who's leading this movement in the Himalayas, picking up trash as he keeps trekking. But he says that when I do tell what I'm actually doing to my family, friends, anyone back home, they still look at me as a garbage picker. So that's the mentality that one's fighting, really. So despite these change makers, there is a huge problem of waste management. How do you go about it? Advaita, in your personal experience, do you think there's also lack of basic practices that we can ensure? For instance, waste segregation that should begin from our homes. How many of us separate wet waste from dry waste to begin with?
Yeah, we don't. We don't at all. And I'm from Uttarakhand, so I know exactly about the kind of littering tourists do, and they come in and they leave, and it's like a tsunami of garbage is left behind. I mean, everyone talks about, the lovely Maggie in the mountains. Guess what happens to those packets of Maggie noodles? They're scattered all over the mountainside. I mean, you have landfills developing overnight. So it's a terrible, terrible situation. And I think that we have to get very aggressive about this. And not for anything else, but we've just come out of a pandemic. We know the kind of hell an epidemic, a pandemic can cause. And the primary cause is exactly the circumstances we're in right now, which is garbage being left around, which is rain, stagnation. Delhi is going to head into now AQI issues. So it's like you're battling one thing and the other. And the ease of living index, people talk about that all the time. It's quite the buzzword. But the bottom line is the ease of living is really ensuring that you live in a clean, healthy environment that doesn't send your stress levels off the roof, which is what is happening. People are getting stressed out. They're having heart ailments. I mean, we just don't realize the peripherals that are connected with this. We only look at it from an aesthetic point of view. The aesthetic point of view is just the surface, and it's only the beginning. It's what we can see. We don't know what we're breathing in, how it's impacting our mental health, our body, our physicality. I mean, it's just one after the other. I mean, today in any of our big cities, we can't even go out and take a walk and feel like we're doing something healthy for ourselves.
Right, and when there is a little bit of clean air, like there has been in Delhi right now because of the rain, you have citizens really, coming out and thanking it because it is rare, unfortunately. So, Advaita,
and then they get stuck in
and
traffic.
there's a different challenge that they have to face in terms of potholes, in terms of waterlogging. So,
getting stuck in traffic, like Delhi still, and I mean, I've grown up in Delhi. 30 years ago, it was still Minto Bridge. Today also, we're still looking at Minto Bridge. Has it flooded? I mean, it's absurd. Yeah. The world has progressed. We didn't have internet 30 years ago, but we still have Minto Bridge,
Yeah.
Okay, Advaita, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to start the morning
Likewise.
with you and your insightful thoughts. Thank you so much. Well, with that, we quickly now shift our attention to the sacred Piprawa relics and how they're returning to India after 127 years. Lord Buddha's relics find their way home through extraordinary government-corporate collaboration.
So this story actually starts all the way back in 1898 when British engineer William Claxton Pepe discovered these relics. This was in, as we told you, a region in UP. In May 2025, think about that, the relics are now set to be auctioned in Hong Kong. India's cultural heritage was at risk of being lost forever.
In fact, the Minister of Culture and Godrej Industries Group joined forces in unprecedented public-private partnership to prevent the auction and bring it home. Honorable Union Minister of Culture and Tourism, Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, also said that the return of the relics is a matter of pride for every Indian, and this would not have been possible without the vision of the Prime Minister.
Now, this monumental repatriation, as it's called, celebrates India's commitment to preserving spiritual heritage at the birthplace of Buddhism, this region as it's called. A moment of peace, a moment of compassion, and a moment of cultural pride. Now, leaving you with those visuals and the achievement that symbolizes, we're going to be heading into a quick break. On the other side, what are we taking a look at?
On the other side, we will go across to the voice behind the film Pink, also his latest release, Dear Ma, the success of the films and what he makes of how we've seen a constant shift in the tone and tenor of these films and how they revolve around the woman character. We'll talk about that specific conversation in just a bit. We'll be right back.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Here are the top stories with breaking news coming in at the top of the bulletin on the government's response to Trump's order for 25% tariffs on all Indian products. The centre has said, and I quote, India and the United States have been engaged in negotiations on concluding a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement over the last few months. The government attaches the utmost importance to protecting and promoting the welfare of our farmers, entrepreneurs and MSMEs. The government will take all steps necessary to secure our national interest, is the message coming in from the Modi government after Trump's tariff blitz on Indian products, announcing 25% tariffs as well as penalties for India's trade ties with Russia. Donald Trump also highlighted in that Truth Social post that India gets a lot of its defense equipment from Russia, as well as it's the largest buyer of Russian energy, for which the Trump administration has now imposed penalties above the 25% tariff. But the Modi government has said that they will strive to protect the critical sectors here in India. I'm joined by my colleague Payal Mehta on the broadcast. So Payal, it seems the Indian government is undeterred and they will continue to protect its own sensitive sectors.
Well, the government of India will take all the necessary steps to ensure that national interest is protected, and it has been the case with the other trade negotiations that we've had in the past. It is very, very clear a stand of the Indian government. They are studying what has been declared by US today, and they will be taking, a note of all the complications that come along with it. India and US, Ayushman, have been engaged in negotiations on constructing a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral agreement. And, certain conditions being made by Donald Trump are certainly at this point in time not acceptable. Russia, mind you, has been an all-weather friend of the Indian government, whether it's in the sector of defense or, Indian government in the past has also said that we are committed to the welfare of the people. So wherever we are getting cheap oil from, we'll be bound to buy it as well. So nobody can dictate terms to us. And India and Indians will be kept first, and that's been the stated position of Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, who's just come back after concluding a successful trade deal with the UK. So obviously, let's just wait and watch. Let's not jump the gun right now. Let's not, come under any pressure as well. The Indian government, like I said, is well committed to the welfare of the people, and that is exactly what they want us to believe, because they are not going to open the economy up for the US at the cost of crucial sectors, which also includes sectors like agriculture, which are MSME, which are very, very critical to India's growth journey. So we'll have to just wait and see how this really transfers. Tomorrow is an important meeting of the Union Cabinet, in which the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs, the Cabinet Committee of Security also meets. I'm sure the Cabinet, a lot of discussions will happen as far as this is concerned. Earlier today also, Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister and External Affairs Minister, immediately rushed out from Parliament, and they went to meet the Prime Minister, is what we are given to understand.
Right. Thank you, Payal, for decoding that for us. So that will be the road ahead for the Modi government when it comes to dealing with these tariffs that have been slapped by the Trump administration. Meanwhile, more breaking news coming in. This is inside details of the government's response to Trump's decision to slap 25% tariffs on Indian products. Now, top government sources say that the statement issued by the government took place after a meeting between the Prime Minister's office, the External Affairs and the Commerce Ministries. The deal is not yet finalized, because negotiations are underway between the United States as well as India when it comes to hammering out a trade agreement. America needs Indian products as well is the pitch coming in from top government sources, and the tariffs are not alarming, is the pitch coming in from top government sources who are not that perturbed by the 25% tariffs. Labor-intensive products like footwear, gems, jewelry will be protected, along with the agriculture sector, sensitive sectors when it comes to the Indian economy. I'm joined by my colleague Pallavi Ghosh on the broadcast, who's getting us these details. So Pallavi, it seems the government is undeterred when it comes to protecting these sensitive sectors, but also outreach to other nations when it comes to looking at more economic green shoots.
Welcome back. Our next guest this morning is known for crafting films that are layered, lyrical and unafraid to take on society's toughest questions. You may remember the film Pink, the 2016 courtroom drama that challenged how India understands consent. But that's not just one chapter in a career built on emotional intelligence and quiet power. From Antaheen to Pink, Aniruddha Roy Chaudhary, or Tony Da, as he's called by those who look up to him, has consistently delivered stories that stay with you.
That stay with you, stay in your stomach, that grip you. His newest film, Dear Ma, is a Bengali language feature that's released 12 days ago, 18 July, and it's now headed to audiences as we speak across the US, screenings in more than 50 locations. Now, Dear Ma is a deeply personal story with wide resonance, and once again, he invites us with this film to sit with discomfort, to sit with beauty and truth, all in the same frame. We're so glad to have him here on The Breakfast Club with us this morning. Let's just go over to him to understand more. Good morning. Lovely to have you
here
on the show, sir.
Thank you so much.
If we could first just ask you a little bit about your most recent outing, Dear Ma. In one word, it's about motherhood, but obviously it's very, very layered, very intimate, and you're dealing within motherhood of real motherhood versus fake motherhood, i.e. adoption. You're also dealing with that question, among other things. Tell us, what was the spark, the idea for creating something like this, and how did you build nuance into a story that is so authentic to the female experience?
See, I'll tell you my backstory. I studied in a co-ed school, and most of the time I was very talkative. So my teachers used to ask me to sit in between two girls. And I grew up with my friends who happened to be girls. And I started understanding their nuance, their psychology. And we are I'm very pally with them, even now. All we need is love. That's the song Want Me by Beatles, remember? And truly, in this world, whatever is happening everywhere, we need love and care. Love for the atmosphere, love for the nature, love for the trees, love for the stray dogs, love for humans. Nothing. Love is the only thing. There is a word called "dil ke aage sabka haar hai." So Dear Ma is a story about motherhood. It's not a stereotypical motherhood. We are. All of us. We have little bit of. When my friend comes, and if she is a boy or a girl, whoever lives my place around 12, I tell him or her that drop me a message when you reach home. Take a Uber, but tag me wherever you are going. So what is this? This is a kind of, all of us, we have little bit of, we mother people, we have to be sensitive towards our surroundings.
Okay.
So it's a relationship film. It's a film about the conflict, the love, the submerged, and the emotions which sometimes come up, and between a mother and a daughter, between a father and a daughter, and everybody is a mother in this film, even the boys, even the police officer. I will not give spoilers if you watch it. Another thing, adoption, I don't know. We say that love is thick. Blood is thicker than love. Blood. Blood is thicker than water.
Yeah.
But what we want to prove, or what I feel, and our colleagues feel, since film is a very collaborative art form, that love is thicker than blood. When there is love, it becomes much more thick, much more deep, much more intense. And you never know where it goes. It's not always we have to show love. It has to be, love has to be felt. Love has to be absorbed. So the film deals with that. But obviously there are a lot of layers,
Yeah.
Anuradha, if I can use that word, I was actually, that was the first question I wanted to ask. Should I address you as Anuradha or Tony Da? What would you like before I go ahead with my question?
I am very young, and today I have turned around 29. So please call me Anirudh.
Okay.
I'm just joking, So today is my birthday. Today is my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
I have turned
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
happy
Please call me Anirudh. Feel free.
Okay,
Feel free to call me
lovely then.
Anirudh.
Then I will stick to Anirudh. Toya can decide what she wants to call you. Okay,
Yeah.
Anirudh, a very happy birthday. Hope you have a great day. Hope it's a great start to your day. But on the
Thank you so
Breakfast
much.
Club, what I also want to ask you, since you've touched upon such a beautiful aspect of motherhood, do you think this one aspect has often been left unaddressed? In Indian cinema, motherhood is often glorified. It's flattened. It's the picture perfect projection of a mother. What, by portraying motherhood in the way you have in the film, were you trying to achieve and avoid at the same time?
See, I have lost my mother almost 20 years back. Now I find that what I have done to her, I never called her dear Ma. Hi Ma, let's have a tea. Always mothers are taken for granted. And I feel they're the only person who have to sacrifice. They will not go for work. They will have no career. Her career or everything is, children. So we wanted to come out of that, Motherhood is something which helps to shape up, which helps to show the kids, the offspring, fly. And see that rooted, the more you can fly. If you are grounded well, you can fly more. So let's come out of the stereotypical thing. Always we don't have to show our love and affection, but it's there. It's a duty of the kid to understand, to absorb, to feel. It's all about sensitivity. Everything is there. And in this world, I believe we are all custodians. We don't possess anything. We have come for some time. We are there. We are together. And we help each other. We love each other. We give our right energy. We distribute energy and we absorb energy. But we can't possess anything. So this film is about that. And where it goes. Where the realization goes. And how we become deeply attached. And it's a circularity of life, If you let go, it comes back to you.
Yeah.
And the relationship also is about a mother and daughter, but it can be between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or a boyfriend and a boyfriend, or a girlfriend and a girlfriend. It can happen in different layers. The tool is a mother and daughter, and which is universal, which is deep, and which is intense, and which is nothing is called nothing. I mean, there's a field beyond right and wrong. Nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Nothing is black, nothing is white. We have touched the field beyond that. And that beyond, that is very important as far as I am concerned as a human being.
Tonida, if we could now ask you a little bit about the reception, well, not the reception, where you're going to be showing the film. We just want to ask, so we were super interested by the fact that the film is going to be showing in, I think, 50 plus locations in the US. Who are the crowds that come to see? Are these Bengali speaking Indians who live there? Is there now an interest in Bengali cinema among all populations within not just the US, Europe, other countries too? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we are starting with US, and this is the first time any regional film, and I'm sorry I am quoting the regional film, but nothing is regional. In today's world, local is the new global, Local is the new global. We watch films from Brazil, we watch films from Iran, we watch films from Spain. So it's releasing everywhere in more than 55 destinations in US and Canada. And one thing I want to share with you, a mother and daughter relationship in a remote village in India, or in New York, or in London, or in Denmark, or in Argentina, or in Cuba, it's same. Trust me, the emotions are same. So it's for everybody, It's for everybody. Maybe the language is Bengali and a little bit of English, but cinema has its own language, and it has subtitles. So I am sure, and I want, because we work, we are artists. I call myself an artist. We work for a pat on our shoulder. We want for those claps,
Yeah.
That keeps us going.
Yeah.
So I think it's universal. I mean, everybody can watch it. A mother who wants to become a mother, who doesn't want to become a mother, who want to adopt a child, who doesn't want to adopt a child, a father, a family. This is a very family film, and this is a relationship film with a touch of thriller.
Yeah.
But the thriller is like a tool. We have worked with the basic emotions of human beings, and there are fascinating kids. Please watch the film to watch the kids. And Jaya Ehsan and Anubha Fatehpuria. And everybody plays a role of mother. There's a maid in the film. We call them maid. But when I grew up, somebody took my caregiver who used to take care of me when I was very young. I used to call her Bui. Bui is a mixture of Buri, because she was old, and Didi. And I started calling her Bui. We used to eat together on the same dining table. She used to sleep beside me, and she had the authority to tell me whatever she wants.
Yeah.
एक थप्पड़ मरेगा अगर वो नौटंकी करेगा तो. Every time she used to tell me. And all of us, even my parents, they were afraid of her. And she was the boss of the family, and she was a mother. My mother used to mother me. She used to mother the entire family. So motherhood is a very wide, a very important, a very deep, and it's huge. It's huge.
I don't know, you've always attempted to break stereotypes through your films. Let's go back a little to Pink. That's a movie that garnered so much praise. It's a movie that did so well. The punchline, no means no, I think was a redefinition of what no means no actually stands for in terms of how Indian cinema portrayed it through the film. But Anirudh, tell us, from Pink to now, from using Amitabh as a character who criticized looking down upon women as characterless for staying out till late, for drinking alcohol, so on and so forth, to now showing adoption and motherhood in this unique way. What do you attempt to usually do by creating these unique patterns around your film? What's the vision there? What's the vision behind your filmmaking when you pick such themes?
I'll tell you something. Since childhood, I deeply get affected by the atmosphere. When a tree moves like this, when it's storm, it's fascinating for me. If I see the raindrops, I fall in love. I get so much of attraction that uske paas, I keep on staying at that. You know, the floating clouds, the blue sky, you know, the waves. Seeing whatever is happening around us, I get affected. Sometimes I feel good and I take the story from the atmosphere and I want to tell that story. Storytelling is an urge. It's something like you want to hold your friend's hand. I'm in a relationship. I want to hold somebody tight. And storytelling is like that. I want to hold that story and I want to tell it. I love him. I love the story. Please listen to my story. Pink, I have seen each and every moment of Pink in my life. I know. I used to stay in a place called Lake Gardens in Calcutta. There are a lot of people from Northeast, they come. And these young kids, they were not aware of their clothes. They were not aware. They are like flowers. You know, they're not affected by the entire world. They are having chai, wearing shorts or t-shirts. I have seen educated people, how they shame them, how they name them. I have seen a single woman staying somewhere who says, Tonida, come, you love coffee. You love things stronger than coffee. You love Pink Floyd. You love black. And let's listen to music. Let's have some coffee or something stronger than coffee. Let's talk. Let's discuss. I can cook something. People will think that something wrong is happening. Who are you to judge it? My daughter does that. My wife does that. And I'm not around. I do that. A relationship or a man and woman doesn't mean it's always sexual. It's much beyond a friendship.
Tonida,
it's so important.
Tonida, we have just a minute or two left. So just on that, we
Yeah,
want to ask you.
yeah.
We want to ask you one more question related to Pink only, which is we were discussing this today. If you had to make the film again, obviously the discussion is still where it used to be. You know, we as a society, we do still victim blame. Would your film be the same? Would you change certain things about it to make it relevant to the 2025 context? Tell us.
It's more or less same. And what I want, I will finish. I'll finish my conversation. I have to protest. How do I protest? I don't have a gun. I become angry, and I want to tell a story through Pink, so that it brings some kind of awareness. When I did Ontohin, that point of time, you know, nothing came like Insta or Facebook. I used to chat with a lady through email, and Ontohin happened. You know, Anuranand, there's a man who wanted to show a woman the beauty of Kanchenjunga, and they were married to different persons. Nothing wrong in that. I did that. I went for my friend's honeymoon, and I wanted to see the Himalayas. So I want to bring my emotions back to my films, which is the only way I can share my thoughts with my audience, you know. So Pink, I think it was very relevant. Even now Pink is there. Even now Pink happens everywhere. And we say Pink is Barbie. No, Pink is the color of strength, you know.
It's actually a
that
very
is
good
there.
example, Anirudh, of really labeling what's right, what's wrong, and it's been cited so many times. So thank you for that wonderful film. But speaking of Pink, we were also discussing that what we must ask you is what did you really decide on in terms of picking your actors when you went for Amitabh Bachchan and Taapsee Pannu? And then we'll go to Kadak Singh and Pankaj Tripathi as well. How do you normally decide who your leads should be, and how was the experience?
See, for my Bengali films, I close my eyes, I can see the faces. I can see faces. For Pink, Sujit Sarkar, who is also a very renowned and efficient and cerebral filmmaker, he took us to Mr. Bachchan, and Mr. Bachchan, sir, heard that story for 5 minutes, and he said yes. I still remember how me, Ritesh, and everybody came out, and we danced on the street. Yay! No means no coming out from Sir, and it resonates lakhs of people, millions. And Pankaj Tripathi, I thought of him while working on Kritsween. I went to him and he said, "ये film करना ही है, ये इतना अच्छा है, let's do." Lost also. So everything is, I think, predestined and pre-computed, and gut feel. For this role, this is the best person in the world, and this is the person with whom I want to collaborate. Or he or she believes in this subject so much, they also want to collaborate. It's all about collaboration and trust and believing in the thought.
Beautiful. Aniruddha or Tonida, happy birthday. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking out the time. We hope we've made your birthday a little more special. Good luck for Dear Ma, the release that it's seeing right now in the US. Thank you for joining us.
All the best, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's releasing on 8th August in US.
Everywhere.
So I'm very excited. Yeah, I am everywhere. I'm going there, and it's running in India right now.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, bye. Lovely talking to you. Bye. Thank you.
All right, we're going to be moving on now from this and the discussion with Tonida to something very, very different.
We're talking about the title track of Sayyara and how it's created history as it now stands at number 1 in Spotify's viral 50 global chart, surpassing Billie Eilish, also Lady Gaga, Bruno Mars, Blackpink, you name it, and Sayyara's literally surpassed them all. In an exclusive chat with CNN News 18's Shosha's Titas Chaudhary, music composer Tanish Bagchi talks about being overwhelmed with this feel, but adds how it wouldn't translate to financial gains and royalties for him.
He recalls his first meeting with Ahan Pandey and the advice he dished out to him and Aneet Pada. Now, they've given this longer reaction. Take a look.
Big congratulations, Tanish.
Thank you so much.
On Sayyara, the title track.
Thank you so much.
We recently heard that it has entered the Spotify Global Top 50.
It's number 5 now.
Wow.
And it's the most, I think, world's number one viral track right now, which is something.
What's going on in your mind right now?
See, it's a very unexpected thing because I knew this was going to be like number 1 तो होने ही वाला था क्योंकि जो मेहनत हम लोग ने डाला 1 साल से and but global में जाएगा ये मुझे पता नहीं था, ये surprise हो गया. But I think the credit goes to Mohit sir definitely because उन्होंने इतना मतलब जैसे स्कूल के बच्चे होते हैं ना वैसे हम लोग को रखे थे, गाइड करना कि अच्छा ऐसा करो ये फीलिंग है. तो I think his captainship actually proved that कि हम लोग कुछ अच्छा करने वाले हैं. And obviously Arsalan and Fahim, they are one of the, I think मेरी ज़िंदगी में अगर मैं किसी के साथ कोलैब करना चाहता था तो यही दोनों थे.
They are incredible.
Especially Arsalan तो obviously है, Fahim का voice, मतलब both of them are like, I think, genius. They have so much soul in their music, in their voice, in their songwriting. So I think एक match हो गया उनके साथ मेरा.
But you know the title track, it's like a true blue Bollywood film song, है ना? When a song like this, it tops global charts, you know what, Tanish, what do you think it really means for Indian mainstream Hindi music in general?
Commercially, I can't tell you what it means because it's the same thing every time.
Yeah.
Financially also, जो चल रहा है वही चलने वाला है. ऐसा कुछ तोड़-फोड़ नहीं होने वाला. But एक पोजीशन हो जाता है, एक प्रूव हो जाता है, कि एक तो हम लोगों ने एक प्रूव कर लिया है कि बॉलीवुड गाना, हिंदी लैंग्वेज का गाना ग्लोबल में जा सकता है.
Yes.
हनुमान काइंड ने किया है इंग्लिश, ठीक है, तो अच्छा था वो प्रोजेक्ट, वो 7 नंबर पे था. हम लोगों ने शुद्ध हिंदी गाना बनाया और वो 5th में गया है एंड चांसेस है कि 1 पे भी जा सकता है.
Yes.
सो अगर 1 हो गया तो वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड हो जाएगा. तो वो चीज़ एक प्लेसमेंट हो जाता है वर्ल्ड में क्योंकि मैं आपको बताऊं, सब ढूंढते थे, इंटरनेशनल जो भी ब्रांड्स थे, मतलब जो भी लेबल्स है, वो लोग एक ही बात बोलते थे कि के पॉप है, कोरिया से आया हुआ है, एफ्रो है, अफ्रीका से आया हुआ है, देन यूरोपियन जो स्वीडिश हाउस है, हाउस म्यूजिक, वो स्वीडन से आया हुआ है, बट इंडिया से कुछ जा ही नहीं है, कुछ भी है ही नहीं ऐसा कि चार्ट्स पे आ जाए। एंड वो कोशिश कर रहे थे, इंग्लिश बना देते हैं, कोलैब कर लेते हैं, एक आर्टिस्ट इधर से लेते हैं, वो आर्टिस्ट लेते हैं, खिचड़ी करके करते हैं, तो आज तक वो सक्सेसफुल हुआ नहीं है। लेकिन ये सक्सेसफुल हो गया। जो इंडियन आर्टिस्ट है, इंडिया का बंदा है, प्रोड्यूसर भी इंडिया है, मिक्सिंग भी इंडिया में हुआ है, वो नंबर 1 पे मतलब जो भी है गया है, तो वो एक बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है सबके लिए।
राइट आपने ये कहा कि कमर्शियल या फाइनेंशियल तो कोई तोड़फोड़ नहीं होने वाली है, व्हाई डिड यू से दैट?
दैट्स बिकॉज सी आउटसाइड, बाहर का थोड़ा रॉयल्टी एंड पब्लिशिंग थोड़ा अलग होता है, ठीक है, इधर का थोड़ा अलग है। इधर मोस्टली इट्स लाइक वी डोंट गेट दैट मच आउट ऑफ द रॉयल्टी सीन, तो उसमें मुझे ऐसा ही लगता है कि वो भी अभी इंडिया में थोड़ा चल रहा है अभी।
All right, next we take you to the world of cricket, where India looked to level the series 2-2 with drama unfolding in the build-up to the 5th and final test. It's a clash between Gambhir and the Oval curator sparks tension. Injuries plague both camps. Now, can Gill's young men end the tour on the high at the Oval? That's what we're going to have to see, Kritsween. What else are we looking forward to there?
So that's one big update that we're watching out for, of course. The Oval curator controversy has turned out to be very interesting because here in India, there are so many people, so many Indians backing Gautam Gambhir and saying if the Oval curator got to throw his weight around, why not the Indian coach? So that's one controversy that's taken the internet by storm. Here are more details.
As India gear up for the final test against England in London, a fresh controversy has taken the centre stage, featuring head coach Gautam Gambhir and the Oval pitch curator Lee Fortis. Just before the final dance in the UK, the Indian support staff was having a look at the Oval strip when Fortis asked Gambhir and company to stay away from it, rather watch it from a 2.5-metre distance. The curator's tone irked the Indian head coach, who responded furiously. A day after the incident, the Indian captain spoke about the altercation and called it an unnecessary fuss.
If a pitch curator is going to come and ask us to not look at the wicket and look at the wicket from 3 meters from behind, that's not something that has happened to us before. We've been playing cricket for such a long time, and as long as, like I said, as long as you are under rubber spikes or you're barefoot, you're allowed to look at the wicket from close quarters, and that's the job of the coach and the captain. So I don't know why the curator didn't let us or didn't allow us to do that.
After the chaos comes the game that will decide India's fate in the series. Following a famous draw at Old Trafford, India eyed to level the series 2-2 before flying back home. The hosts have lost Rishabh Pant and doubt looms over availability of Jasprit Bumrah. Initially scheduled to feature in only 3 tests to manage his workload, Bumrah has already completed that quota, leaving fans to wonder if he will take the field one more time. And as always, Gill didn't give anything away in the press-up, but did say that Arshdeep Singh, who is yet to make his test debut, has been asked to be ready.
So we're gonna take a decision tomorrow. The wicket looks pretty keen, so we'll see how it turns out. And yes, they haven't gone with the front line spinner, but I think Bethel and Root, they're gonna have their spinning options with them. And luckily for us, Washington and Jadeja, they have done such a good job with the bat and with the bowl. So it's on their front, it's a no-brainer for us.
Arshdeep, we're gonna be asked to get ready.
He is being asked to get ready. Like I said, we're gonna take a decision later this evening. I'll go have a look at the wicket. I haven't had a chance to look at the wicket, see how the weather is gonna be in the next 5 days, and then take a decision.
As Gill mentioned the presence of the grass on the pitch, England seems to have considered it seriously. On Wednesday, the hosts announced their playing 11 and made some surprising changes. Captain Ben Stokes will miss out due to an injury, and so will Jofra Archer, Bryden Cars and Liam Dawson. England have deployed a pace-heavy lineup, adding Gus Atkinson, Jamie Overton and bringing back Josh Tant. Stokes addressed the media on the eve of the fifth test. Though he remained tight-lipped on the pitch controversy, he did express his disappointment over missing out on the deciding test of the series.
Yeah, obviously disappointed to not be able to finish the series. Yeah, disappointed. Yeah, I've got a decent tear of one of the muscles that I can't pronounce because I don't know how to say it. But yeah, it was obviously took as long as we could to make that decision around that. Obviously a bit of emotion going into this kind of stuff when you find out what you've done. I came down here this morning with, to give himself every chance of seeing if, just to play as a batter. Obviously bowling was ruled out as soon as we got scan results. But yeah, I think you need sort of for that time chatting with the medical team, Baz, and then almost just 20 minutes to myself out there in the morning just to really be clear around the decision that we made. And yeah, there wasn't any, it's one of those where the, weighing up the risk reward, and the risk was way too high for damaging this any further than it currently is.
With the series on the line and emotions running high, this young Indian team remains focused on the bigger picture, ending the tour on a high. A win at the Oval would not only square the series but also serve as a statement of resilience under Shubman Gill's leadership.
Us, I can say it doesn't really matter what we have done in the last match, good or bad. Whatever's happened in the last match has gone by. We want to move on, we want to perform the best in the next one that we can.
Okay, now we're heading into a quick break. On the other side, we tell you what we have in store for you tomorrow and more to look forward to. See you in just a few minutes.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Here are the top stories with breaking news coming in at the top of the bulletin on the government's response to Trump's order for 25% tariffs on all Indian products. The centre has said, and I quote, India and the United States have been engaged in negotiations on concluding a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement over the last few months. The government attaches the utmost importance to protecting and promoting the welfare of our farmers, entrepreneurs and MSMEs. The government will take all steps necessary to secure our national interest, is the message coming in from the Modi government after Trump's tariff blitz on Indian products, announcing 25% tariffs as well as penalties for India's trade ties with Russia. Donald Trump also highlighted in that Truth Social post that India gets a lot of its defense equipment from Russia, as well as it's the largest buyer of Russian energy, for which the Trump administration has now imposed penalties above the 25% tariff. But the Modi government has said that they will strive to protect the critical sectors here in India. I'm joined by my colleague Payal Mehta on the broadcast. So Payal, it seems the Indian government is undeterred and they will continue to protect its own sensitive sectors.
Well, the government of India will take all the necessary steps to ensure that national interest is protected, and it has been the case with the other trade negotiations that we've had in the past. It is very, very clear stand of the Indian government. They are studying what has been declared by US today, and they will be taking, a note of all the complications that come along with it. India and US, Ayushman, have been engaged in negotiations on constructing a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral agreement. And, certain conditions being made by Donald Trump are certainly at this point in time not acceptable. Russia, mind you, has been an all-weather friend of the Indian government, whether it's in the sector of defense or, Indian government in the past has also said that we are committed to the welfare of the people. So wherever we are getting cheap oil from, we'll be bound to buy it as well. So nobody can dictate terms to us. And India and Indians will be kept first, and that's been the stated position of Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister, who's just come back after concluding a successful trade deal with the UK. So obviously, just wait and watch. Let's not jump the gun right now. Let's not, come under any pressure as well. The Indian government, like I said, is well committed to the welfare of the people. And that is exactly what they want us to believe, because they are not going to open the economy up for the US at the cost of crucial sectors, which also includes sectors like agriculture, which are MSME, which are very, very critical to India's growth journey. So we'll have to just wait and see how this really transfers. Tomorrow is an important meeting of the Union Cabinet, in which the Cabinet Committee of Economic Affairs, the Cabinet Committee of Security also meet. I'm sure the Cabinet, a lot of discussions will happen as far as this is concerned. Earlier today also, Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister and External Affairs Minister, will stay doing that.
All right, back with our special section on markets. GIFT Nifty indicates a gap down opening for Indian equities as Trump slaps tariffs. Asian markets are volatile and mixed in early trades today. US equity markets closed well after US Federal Reserve maintained interest rates on expected lines. Crude oil prices hold steady at higher level on supply constraints. Gold prices gain as hopes of US Fed rate cut in September also wanes.
Okay, let's take a look at sectors in particular. We're going to take a look at commercial vehicle sales that have been languishing for over a year now. E-way billing is looking up. It is reflecting improved movement of goods. India's domestic economy is resilient amid continuing global tensions, but the need for warehousing and rising e-commerce, along with rural demand improvement, holds promise for better freight rates. CV sales that were contracting grew in the last 2 months. Is this sector cycle turning around? That's obviously the key question. And you can log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the commercial vehicle sector in India and other actionable insights on the market. It's the premier destination for all investing views, financial insights you're ever going to need, brought to you by Money Control.
Okay, that's all for today, but it is going to be an exciting Friday indeed. We've got 2 very interesting conversations lined up for you. First up, we're going to talk about the women themselves live on The Breakfast Club, who are embracing their grey hair. They're breaking stereotypes and sending a message to women who are looking at doing the same. So a lot of inspiration coming up on Friday morning. What else are we getting
We
for
have
our
the
viewers?
gorgeous notes of Shilpa Rao. She's going to be joining us on The Breakfast Club. We sit down and have a conversation with the singer, known for so many songs, right from her first few songs in the early 2000s, then her song Besharam Rang, something that's really struck a chord, and then of course her most recent songs in the new movie that's breaking box office records. We're going to talk to her, but for now, that's all that we have for you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Here are the top stories with breaking news coming in at the top of the bulletin on the government's response to Trump's order for 25% tariffs on all Indian products. The centre has said, and I quote, India and the United States have been engaged in negotiations on concluding a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement over the last few months. The government attaches the utmost importance to protecting and promoting the welfare of our farmers, entrepreneurs and MSMEs. The government will take all steps necessary to secure our national interest, is the message coming in from the Modi government after Trump's tariff blitz on Indian products, announcing 25% tariffs as well as penalties for India's trade ties with Russia. Donald Trump also highlighted in that Truth Social post that India gets a lot of its defense equipment from Russia, as well as it's the largest buyer of Russian energy, for which the Trump administration has now imposed penalties above the 25% tariff. But the Modi government has said that they will strive to protect the critical sectors here in India. I'm joined by my colleague Payal Mehta on the broadcast. So Payal, it seems the Indian government is undeterred and they will continue to protect its own sensitive sectors.
Well, the government of India will take all the necessary steps to ensure that national interest is protected, and it has been the case with the other trade negotiations that we've had in the past. It is very, very clear a stand of the Indian government. They are studying what has been declared by US today, and they will be taking, a note of all the complications that come along with it. India and US, Ayushman, have been engaged in negotiations on constructing a fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral agreement. And, certain conditions being made by Donald Trump are certainly at this point in time not acceptable. Russia, mind you, has been an all-weather friend of the Indian government, whether it's in the sector of defense or, Indian government in the past has also said that we are committed to the welfare of the people. So wherever we are getting cheap oil from, we'll be bound to buy it as well. So nobody can dictate terms to us. And India and Indians will be kept first, and that's been the stated position of Piyush Goyal, the Commerce Minister.
Good morning and a very warm welcome. Thanks for staying tuned to CNN News 18. I'm Kritsween and first up, here's a quick check of the day's top stories. CNN News 18's campaign Save Our Cities. Despite huge infrastructure budgets, Indian cities still struggle. Overall drains flood roads during monsoons each year. Same story. Are these cities transforming or just surviving? US President Donald Trump announces that India will face a 25% tariff starting 1st of August and would face additional penalties for its oil and military purchases from Russia amid the ongoing war in Ukraine. US President Donald Trump announces a trade deal with Pakistan, touting a joint initiative to develop oil reserves in India's terror-harboring neighbor, and even floated the idea that someday Islamabad might sell oil to New Delhi. Kerala nuns remain in Chhattisgarh jail after the court doesn't hear bail plea. They were arrested in Chhattisgarh in an alleged conversion and human trafficking case. 17 years after a powerful blast hit Malegaon in Maharashtra, a special NI court in Mumbai will pronounce its verdict in the 2008 Malegaon bomb blast case. Today, the explosion killed 6 people and left more than 100 injured. England's captain and star all-rounder Ben Stokes has been ruled out of the final test against India with a shoulder injury. The informed player was